Welcome. This is a response video to Stephanie Perry's 8 Ways to Reject Black Excellence Today. Black Women Embracing Ease. I look forward to sharing this journey with you. This is a very important topic, and I want you to feel something. Take a moment to pause and connect. And this is a journey that we will all take together. Be sure to like, subscribe, and hit the notifications bell. I look forward to hearing your responses to these things that are on your mind that perhaps you never put together or never heard anybody talk about before. This is the place on our channel. This channel is for us. Nonprofit accountability. So this video is a call back to self. It's a permission to lighten that heavy load that we carry on our backs, the burden of Black excellence. So when we're carrying such a heavy burden, how can we move forward, right? So, people walk around talking about Black excellence, as if it's something that we have to earn, right? We're born excellent. We are excellent, right? So once the disillusionment in the workplace sets in, especially in our nonprofit field, where once as people say, oh, you're doing God's work and, bless you for that. Those are nice things to hear. However, after a bit of time, after the honeymoon phase of the job sets in, working on the front lines, serving, whether it's people with developmental disabilities, serving in the behavioral health spaces, substance abuse spaces, there's a disillusionment that sets in, right? We understand that the front line of these fields are primarily Black women, and it's Black and brown people, right, running these front lines. So Black excellence is something that there's so much messaging toward it, and it's actually a pretty dangerous thing. So once this delusion sets in about the type of work that we're actually able to do, the reality of where we are, and the limitations that are actually in place, and the demands placed upon frontline staff in nonprofit organizations, human service fields, then it's time to check in with self, and then it's time to let all of that go, right? Because how can we get to a better place is we have to let go of the Black excellence, that heavy weight that will keep us stagnant, right? Which it's funny because you wouldn't think that's what it does, but that is actually the impact of such a weight of something that says you have to be doing something a certain way all the time, because other than that, you're not enough. So we want to let that go, right? Because if we're being excellent all the time and yet we're disillusioned, we feel stuck, and we're burnt out, then this can lead us down a dangerous path for self and for our families and the people around us and the populations that we want to serve. So therefore, because also, as I say, the populations the nonprofits that we serve, the organizations really do belong to the people that we serve. They not belong to the directors, executives, or the board members. So let's talk about disillusionment a bit. So this video is called Why DSPs and Supervisors in the Human Services Need to Reject Black Excellence Today. So my last video was called For DSPs and Supervisors in the Human Services, Why Do Staff Leave the Field? The True DSP Crisis. And in that video, as I said, I mentioned disillusionment there, and I mentioned burnout. So please feel free to go back to that video. Once again, it's called For DSPs and Supervisors in the Human Services, Why do staff leave the field? The True DSP Crisis. So please go back. I touched on many topics in there, and there are still other topics that I touched on in there that I will go back and create more content about. But today we're talking about disillusionment and burnout and what to do about that. So again, like, subscribe, hit the notifications, and comment and tell me, even at this point, what you're thinking. Very important, right? As we build a community, that the community we deserve to have, and a space that we deserve to have to empower each other. So Stephanie Perry says in her video, Black excellence tells you what you want to be, right? And what that is as I mentioned earlier, Black excellence tells you that you need to be perfect. It tells you need to have a certain type of job title. It tells you, like for instance, if you need to be an entrepreneur, or even let's say in our spaces where we work, that you need to be a direct care staff. Let's say that their paperwork is perfect. No one ever finds anything off. Every email you send is perfect. Every meeting that you run is perfect. Every trip that you and community activity is perfect and is excellent, right? You're always on time, so you never miss a day, right? So that's just an idea of what Black excellence, how it speaks to us and what it demands. So what is burnout, right? Burnout can take place in the fields that we work in, right? In the different organizations, the nonprofits that we work in. So these nonprofits and a lot of these human service spaces, especially when they're funded, which most of them are by Medicaid, they are highly regulated spaces. We have many oversight bodies. For instance, let's say the Department of Health in New York State is an oversight body. Or if you work in New York State in the field of developmental disabilities, then Department of Health, once again, is oversight body, and OPWDD, Office for People with Developmental Disabilities, is there too. Or if you work as a case planner, then in New York City, then you have their ACS as an oversight body. So that's just an example, some examples for you to give you an idea of what I mean by that. So yeah, so working in these fields, because they are getting money from Medicaid or just from some city organization, then there are contracts involved. And what that means is they can really come in and, there's lots of rules and regulation that's supposed to be in place to benefit the families, right? And to ensure that the work is being done in line with the way the funders want you to do it, right? If you give somebody money to do something, to accomplish something, then it's like, hey, well, are you actually doing what you were supposed to do with this, right? With our contract. So I can talk more about that in another video as well. I said that in the other video too, that I want to talk more about how these spaces work. It's very important, right? If you want to empower yourself and figure out how to move in these spaces, you have to understand how they work. So what is the problem with highly regulated fields? The problem is that they can stifle creativity, and that's where burnout can come from, right? So, and if Black excellence, if we say Black excellence is rooted in productivity, then in jobs and in environments like the ones that we're discussing, that many of us do work in, that means that there can be some exploitation that takes place there. Because if you think that that certain employers and managers, they don't know that what Black excellence is, or the awareness that people from certain backgrounds will push themselves to the brink and past the brink of exhaustion, right? And sometimes it is out of fear, right? It's out of fear of fear of getting in trouble, fear of losing your jobs, fear of disappointing people, fear of somebody saying, hey, you made a mistake, right? So, and if most of the people, as I said earlier, and on these front lines are Black women, right? So start to piece that together, because that was my goal here, was just to have these conversations that we don't get to have. I haven't seen any space yet that really pieces these elements together. So again, what we need to do is, when we get to that point, we have disillusionment setting in, right? It's like, wow, God's work is really exhausting for me, right? This is feeling like, how do I get off of this ride, right? Then the next thing is realizing that this Black excellence has been driving you, it's taken over you, and it's been telling you who you want to be. Then burnout, right? So environments that feed off of that drive towards excellence at the cost of yourself, and then turn around and tell you that it's your fault, right? And then try to teach you self-care, right? Which is comical sometimes. It's not that we can never, of course self-care is a real thing, but if you're in an environment that exploits your drive and not even your drive, but that exploits your, I'm gonna say, history, right? And exploits your journey, right? As we try to fit into these spaces and that were not necessarily designed for us, that's exploitation. So I want you to think about Black excellence and think about burnout, and understand how to get ahead of that, right? And how to make choices for yourself, how to let it go, right? And part of letting it go is hearing that quiet inner voice inside of you that says, hey, this is who we really are in here, right? Like, we don't want to, this hurts. Right? Like, hey, let's, and listening to the inner voice and say, what is it that you want to do? What brought you to this place? What brought you to this field, right? Do that work. And then once you start figuring out more of how you want to show up, or how, maybe what type of role you really want to play, what type of impact you really want to have, then make friends with people doing that. And in our spaces, some people might find, open your eyes and look at clinicians that are in and out. If there are directors that, you want to, how do they do this? And, or any other people with any other role around you, or maybe it's no one inside the organization. Maybe you want to branch out and try something else. It's important to really start building the networks and making friends with people that are doing the things that you want to do, right? So that's very important. So we can talk more about that another time. So just opening your eyes to what's actually happening around you, right? No tunnel vision, right? How do we do that? And part of that is that inner voice and doing some of that work and turning off all those distractions. That Black excellence, the thing that says, ooh, we gotta be perfect. Don't make a mistake. Never take a day off. Work hard. Don't let them see you down and all of, no. We gotta recondition ourselves. So that stuff makes you sick. It steals joy. And it really steals your dreams. And when you think that it's helping to give you your dreams, and it's really not. So that's really what I wanted to share with you all, and put those thoughts in your mind. And the next thing that I want to talk about in the next video also is about this new thing that everybody's quote unquote new thing called quiet quitting, right? They give all these words like burnout, what is burnout? And this is what people do to themselves. Now we have this thing out here called quiet quitting. And I really would like to explore that with you guys. So remember, please like, subscribe, and hit the notification. And comment and tell me, what does this video do for you? What are some of the things that I'm saying? How do they make you feel? What's coming up for you? Because I want you to know, as I say all the time, us in these human service fields, we are serving our own communities. We live in the same communities with the people that we serve. Nonprofits do not belong to directors and board members and all these people who usually don't come from our communities or look anything like us. We are the ones, right? The communities are for us, right? The nonprofits are for us, and our voice matters. And we're going to talk more about these types of things. Okay, so I appreciate your time. Thank you so much, and I'll see you. I'll look forward to talking to you in the comment section.